the night I found the royal baby. The wind was screaming through the lower rings of the city, and the sky burned with broken light new. Aurora was built in layers. Rich above and forgotten below, I lived below. My name is Cale Rowan, sanitation diver. Salvage, licensed, human by birth, and by reputation humans were new to the concord of stars, strongbacks. Quick tempers, faster learning curves, useful but rarely trusted thee. Royal Palace floated at the center of the upper ring like a shard of dawn down where I worked. Light came from cracked panels, and stubborn hope I was knee-deep in runoff when my wrist scanner caught a pulse, not scrap, not metal, biological eye, almost ignored it. Storm nights always carried strange readings, but this one repeated in steady rhythm. Weak fading, I followed the signal through the drainage corridor where water roared against rusted grates. The air smelled of ozone and oil. My boots slipped on algae as I climbed down into the overflow basins. Something shimmered against the far wall. First, I thought it was a torn banner from the upper districts. Violet cloth tangled in debris, then it moved. Dye waded closer. Heart-pounding, the fabric was woven with microfilaments that glowed faint gold, even in the dark. Royal weave, we citizen in the Concord had seen it once, 6 months ago, when the Queen presented her newborn daughter to the Star's princess. Araleth stolen 2 nights later, wars had nearly ignited. Trade routes froze, the Queen had not appeared in public, since my hands shook as I pulled the cloth free from the metal teeth of the grate inside. Was a child no larger than my forearm. Her skin shimmered silver blue, fine lines of light traced her temples like living constellations. Her breathing was shallow to shallow. The life weave in the blanket flickered and dimmed. Someone had thrown her away like broken cargo. For one long second, fear locked my muscles. If anyone saw me here holding her, a human from the lower rings, the accusation would come fast: kidnapper, traitor, opportunist. Then she made a small sound. Not quite a cry, more like a fragile spark. Choice ended. I stripped off my thermal jacket and wrapped her against my chest. Human. Bodies run hot, we joke about it tonight. It mattered. Her skin felt like cool glass. I pressed her closer and felt her faint pulse against my ribs. Stay with me, I whispered. I hit the emergency channel on my wrist unit. This is sanitation diver Cale Rowan. Lower ring 7. Priority signal confirmed. I have located the missing royal heir. Silence slammed into the line. Then alarms erupted across every frequency within. Minutes, the sky above the drainage sector thundered with engines. Royal interceptors descended in sharp black arcs. Floodlights turned night into harsh white day. Guards in crystalline armor surrounded the basin. Weapons trained on meadow, not move. One of them ordered. I did not. I slowly opened my jacket so they could see. Hershey is alive, I said, but she needs warmth and a med unit now. A medic rushed forward, scanning field projecting over us. His expression shifted from suspicion to shock. Core temperature stabilizing. He said, heat source external. Human. They escorted us into a transport carrier. I refused to release her until the medic sealed a portable stasis shield around her small body. Even then, my hands hovered close. The ride to the palace felt unreal. The lower rings shrank beneath us. We rose into the gleaming heart of the city, where towers curved like frozen music. The royal citadel opened before us in spirals of luminous stone. I had only seen it in broadcasts. Humans did not walk its halls. They led me through corridors of living crystal that hummed with soft harmonic tones. Advisors lined the passageways, their faces tight with disbelief. Word had spread faster than light. At the end of the grand chamber stood the Queen Lasara of House Failsh. Was taller than any story had captured. Her crown branched like radiant ice above her brow. Power rippled from her in waves that pressed against the skin. when the medic revealed the child within the stasis field. Something in the queen shattered. She crossed the chamber in a blur of white and silver. Protocol dissolved. She fell to her knees. Sound escaped her that was not royal and not restrained. It was the sound of a mother who had lived in endless fear. She pressed trembling hands against the shield. Light poured from her palms, merging with the faint glow of the child. The princess stirred. Her eyes opened. They were bright as newborn stars. Thin cry filled the chamber, and then, strengthened, the queen gathered her daughter into her arms. As the stasis dissolved, tears streamed down her luminous cheeks. No one dared speak. After long moments she looked up. Her gaze found me. Across the chamber you found her. She said, "Yes, Your Majesty." Wherein a drainage basin in the lower rings. The life weave was damaged. A shadow passed across the faces of the council. The queen rose slowly. Still holding the princess, she approached until only a few steps separated. Usa, our human, yes, you kept her alive. I shared my body. Heat murmurs spread through the chamber. Humans were often described as reckless. Now they whispered a different word: resourceful. The queen studied me as if seeing my species for the first time. My daughter breathes because of you. She said, the future of this world rests in my arms because you chose to act. She turned so the entire chamber could see her face. Let all bear witness. She declared, Kael Rowan of Earth has restored the light of House Vailthan. She faced me again. Anything you want is yours. The words struck harder than any weapon. Anything, wealth beyond counting, a residence in the upper rings, command position, power. Every eye locked onto me. Some wary, some calculating eye thought of the lower rings of humans crammed into labor sectors, of contracts that paid less for the same risk, of doors that remained closed no matter how hard we knocked. I took a slow breath. Your Majesty, I said, I do not want gold or title. The chamber went very still. I want equal standing for my people. Ripple moved through the council. Full Concord citizenship for humans within. New Aurora, equal wages, access to education academies, right to serve in command positions, protection under the same laws as every other species. My voice steadied with each word. We came to contribute, not to remain beneath. Silence deepened. The request was not small. It challenged tradition, centuries old. The queen looked down at her daughter. The princess reached outward and grasped the edge of my sleeve. Her tiny fingers glowed brighter at the contact. The queen watched that glow. Ask not for yourself. She said, no. Your Majesty, you understand, the houses will resist. You see, you understand, this will change the balance of power. That is the point. For a long moment, she stood, unmoving. Then she straightened. So be it. The voice rang through crystal and bone. By the authority of House Vale and the living covenant of the Concord, humans are granted full and equal citizenship within New Aurora, effective. Immediately gasps broke across the chamber. It be recorded that a human saved the air of this world. Let no one speak of their lesser worth. Again, one by one, the council bowed. The sound of ceremonial staffs striking the floor echoed like distant thunder. The queen turned back to me. Who have altered our future? Kael Rowan. I only answered a cry in the dark. She held my gaze. Sometimes that is how history begins. She removed a slender band of crystal from her wrist and extended it toward me. Friend of the crown, she said, wear this as proof that courage knows no species. The band sealed gently around my wrist. Warm and alive, the princess reached for me again. I offered one finger. She wrapped her small hand around it. The glow pulsed, steady and strong. In that moment, the chamber felt different, not divided, not suspicious. United news spread across the city. Before I left the palace, screens in the lower rings flashed with the queen speaking my name. Humans stared in stunned silence as the decrees scrolled beneath her image. The next morning, I returned to my sector. Same boots, same uniform, different air transport. Pilot, who once ignored me, inclined his head in greeting a supervisor, addressed me as Officer Rowan instead of Diver. A guard at the ring elevator stepped aside without hesitation. Change did not roar, it shifted quietly. Like a door opening after years locked shut. Weeks later, I was summoned, again not for ceremony, for tether. Queen met me in a garden chamber where crystal vines curved toward a simulated sunrise princess. Aralith lay in a cradle of woven light. She seems to favor you. The queen said with faint amusement, our scientists note. Her energy stabilizes near human presence. Humans are good at staying warm. I replied. The queen smiled softly. Strength is not always in domination. She said sometimes it is in compassion freely. Given the princess stirred and reached for me, I stepped closer, her fingers closed around Mintha. Future of a world held my hand without fearing, a storm-torn night in a forgotten basin. I had simply followed a fading signal I had not meant to reshape. A city yet sometimes all it takes to change the stars is one choice, one act of warmth in the cold, one refusal to walk away. In the quiet glow of that garden, with a royal child gripping my finger and a queen who had chosen justice over tradition, I understood something simple. Humanity had finally been seen, asterisk.